Hello everyone, it's Omiter and welcome to today's project. Now this is to celebrate the February release of the CC Design stamps and dies, and today I am using these Monkeys clear stamps and die sets and several other items from the new release. Here is the stamp set. I'm using the two monkeys on the top and the branch, which I stamped a couple of times off camera. I'm using, for the monkeys, I am using E31, E34, E35, and E41. Just because I wanted a lighter. This is a weird combination. I've never used this, so we will see. Literally almost every project, you guys, that I make is an experiment. It's like I'm a mad scientist in my little craft room, and it's literally a science experiment. So I'm just going to go ahead and layer in a little bit of the E41. I've learned that I like going from darker to lighter, but I've learned that if you don't have anything underneath it, underneath the darker, it's harder to blend. You have starker lines. So I just went ahead and did a little bit of that E41 and now the E35 and now the E34 as I'm blending it out. I've never used this combination for critters like this, and I didn't want them to be too dark. So because I wanted the monkeys to be the focus, because I want the monkeys to be swinging. I don't know if you saw the pictures at the beginning, you see that they were going from side to side. I use little brads to make that happen, which I have the full process coming up. Now, I'm trying to finish coloring. I do the actual fur part first, and then I do the lighter part of the face and the palms and stuff like that in the second part, but I use the lighter colors. I try to keep the small amount. I'm trying to keep a small amount of colors out, markers out that I'm using to make it easier for me, so I don't have like 95 markers out that I'm coloring with. And here I am just blending out to the lightest color, the E41. I usually do test the colors that I'm using, but these were, I'm like, you know what, let me give them a try. But I do them. I have the monkeys right here, and here I am just words, right? I've had my coffee. I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to blend them in, and then I just go in a little bit with the E34 just to give it a little bit of coloring. I don't want to go too dark because I want the monkeys to be light and fun. But I do use the E34 for the lighter colors like the tummy, the face, to start out with, just to give it that was the darker one that I'm using. Now, if you notice, I'm once again my best friend, the colorless blender. I realized that there were some parts where I may have gone completely out of the lines, and that really wasn't the look I was going for. But it just bothers me halfway through my projects. So here I am just adding the E41 just a little bit. And I'm going, oh, my mistake. I'm actually using E31 for the face. I knew I was missing a color. I have them on my desk while I do these voiceovers, and I'm missing one now. So I use the E31 and 41, which is a lighter one, as you can see here. And remember, when you're coloring with the Copics, the initial color isn't the final color. It will still dry into the paper. And for the cheeks, I do always use R30, and for the ears, a little pinky part, because I want them to have a light blush. And I use the E41 just to lighten it up and to smooth it out. Now, if I know what I'm doing and I know what colors I'm using and how to use them, I would have done the coloring on both monkeys at the same time. Like, I'll do the E40, E35 on one monkey, then the other one, and I just go back and forth to finish it off. But since, like I said, science experiment, and I've never used this combination for fur, I figured for a monkey, I figured I would take one at a time, and if I liked it, I can go on to the next one. If I didn't, I would try a different approach. But I'm doing the same thing here. I started with the E41 just to get some ink on the paper, so it's easier to blend. Came in with the E35, the E34. And on this one, I just kicked in some E31. Why not, right? Like I said, it's all literally a science experiment. And this one has less fur showing than the first one, where you can see the back of the monkey. And this one has less fur. So that's why I was kind of throwing in the E31. But here I am just blending in the colors. And for some reason on the tails, I did a lighter color also because I figured that's where the sun would be hitting it, the light would be hitting it. But like I said, science experiment. Like, just think of your crafts that way, because if it doesn't come out right, it was an experiment. So, at least for the next time. But here I am, just like I said, going in with the shading. And sometimes I realize that like I forgot to start one side. Like so often I will forget to like color a hand. And then I have like a bunch of a bunch of hands, you know, or missing colors and stuff. But I still, you know, move forward. What can you do at that point? I'm just trying to get this color down. Now, for this release, FYI, and by the way, some of the rubber stamps in the CC Design store have been completely restocked, so check them out. But for this release, there's this cute spring things clear stamps. It includes cute little kids in Easter and spring costumes, so those are super cute along with this. Now, on this card, I do use Razzle Dazzle Shiny Dots. There's 2 sets of dots, of enamel dots that are being released, and you get a lot. Like, seriously, you get a lot. Like, I haven't even counted them. You get at least twice what you normally get on any package. But the cool thing is also that this month in CC Designs, they are releasing paper pads. They're releasing 6x6 paper pads, which are perfect for card making. I used to buy a lot, 12x12, and then I would end up with a lot of scraps. But using the 6x6 pads makes it so much easier because for the most part, I end up making now A2 size cards, but I used to do full greeting size cards like 5x7, and hence why I used to use so much of it, so much larger paper. But for the paper pads, there is a Hearts and Dots paper pad, and one is Razzle Dazzle paper pad. Super cute. So many different patterns in one of them has like a rainbow motif, and the other one has, and I'll show you them momentarily, a more of a collage of various prints and colors. So it's really good for, even though it has some darker browns in it, it's really good for spring and summer because of the other color combinations. Now, I'm over here, I am coloring the branch and using the same colors as I did for the monkey. But I start out lighter like I did the monkey, but in the end, I ended up putting in a little bit more darker color, just so they would differentiate a little bit more from the monkeys. I didn't want them to blend into the same color, so I wanted the branches to be a little bit darker. And here I am, again, totally just experimenting. Now, I'm looking for greens for the leaves. I end up using YG13 and YG11. Since the leaves are much smaller, I was able to use a less of a combination where typically I may do 3 or 4 colors for coloring an item. These are so small, I just ended up going with the lighter colors. And once again, experimenting, I did a little bit of the darker with the YG13 and then YG11 to blend it out, and I felt like it blended out too much, so I just did a little bit more shading with the YG13, just a little touch up. I ended up doing 2 of these for the card in the end. Here is my finished project, my finished coloring, and I went ahead and die cut all of this. There's a lot of die cutting here. Now, I usually tend to, and I don't always show it, I always tend to cut out an additional piece of the die, of the critter, and I back it because I feel that makes it stronger. It's usually heavyweight cardstock, and I want to, because I don't want it to bend, I don't want it to fold or warp, but especially for the project that I'm going to do, for the card that I'm going to do today, it needs to be pretty thick because it's going to have a little mechanism where it's going to be swinging. So all the movement and everything, you want it to be thicker so it doesn't tear easily. And at one point, I think this has like 4... Oh, and look, you can see here, if I make a boo-boo on stamping, I will flip that paper over because this is, I forgot which cardstock I'm using here. And it's not cheap, you know? And here I am. This was my original idea, to have them hanging from the top of the frame. Now, I'm using the quad collage from a previous release. And look, here is the Hearts and Dots paper pad. There is the inside that you can see. I used 2 colors from it. I used the green hearts from this one, and I used the brown paper is from the second set of papers, the Razzle Dazzle paper pad. So it has some coordinating things. Now, I did cut several heavyweight cardstock pieces of this frame. In retrospect, I should have just laid it flat, laid the brown frame flat, but I thought this would help the critters. If it lifts the critters, the little monkeys, away from the card, it would help them swing better. So I cut like 5 of them, but I only ended up using like 2 or 3 because I felt that it was getting so thick that it would prevent the the monkeys from shaking. Now this quad collage frame is 4 by 5 1/4. So if it's perfectly inside a A2 card, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So if it's perfectly, and you still have that 1/8 inch border around it, which is what the green the green part is right here. This is an A2 size card, and here I am just seeing how it looks. I was see right here. I have so many, and I was going to go ahead and layer them all, but then I felt, ooh, it's a little thick, it's a little much, so I just left them as is. I'm over here. These are the sentiments. I use the Let's Monkey Around and My Little Monkey. I typically don't use 2 sentiments, but I thought it was really cute. Like, it was like a message as you read it from the top to the bottom. And here I am. I just stamped it with Memento ink, and I'm just cutting it down to size. Now, this one, here's my interesting little trick. This one I just can't get it to go on this guillotine. So I'm like, okay, I move on to the next one, and I cut it down to, because this is a thicker font, a thicker sentiment, and then I just align it. I line the edges, and that's a little border I wanted to cut. I just trim it down, boom, easy peasy, and you have a straight edge. You can either trace it as well and then cut it, but I mean, I'm holding it down and I just cut it. Now I'm just trying to cut down the lengths, but eventually I ended up cutting them a little bit shorter anyway. Now, another thing, I'm not sure if you noticed that this video, as opposed to previous tutorial process videos, has been sped up, but not as fast as it normally has. I have been told that by some of my subbies that sometimes it's so fast that they kind of can't catch. They hear what I'm saying, but they kind of can't catch visually what's going on. So this card took me about 40 to 50 minutes to make from beginning to end, coloring and everything. And I sped it up, so now it's down to 20 minutes. And it didn't take me as long to color because I had simple images with just simple coloring. But I figured, let's try this. Now, it's 20-minute video, so I'm really sorry if it's too long. You guys, let me know. I take suggestions. I watch videos myself. I sit and watch my friends' videos, my crafty friends, and people out there to see how, you know, to see their projects and everything. But let me know if 20 minutes is too long. Should I keep it down? I know many people are very successful in making 12-minute videos, but they may be, or 10-minute videos. I could do that, but this video would be super sped up. At least this way you can kind of see what the situation is. Or if anything, you just speed up to where I make the little hanging mechanisms, which is what I'm doing here now. Now that I've taped the quad collage die to the front of it, I cut extra little pieces, and not a full section of those monkeys, just to double up the part where I am going to hinge it. See right here, as you can see, I cut 2 extra pieces of the tail and a part of the base to make sure it's grounded to the actual monkey. And once again, this is all science experimenting. On the second one, I do it a little bit different. You see how there's the 2-piece right there? So the main image has 2 layers, and I'm now I'm gluing the bottom 2 layers because the eyelet is going to go, no, I'm sorry, the brad is going to go in here. So I'm about to punch the hole with this hole punch. I went ahead and I put a little dot to make sure I get the right space, and look, it gets stuck in there. These are the things that happen, people. It gets stuck in there. But here we go. Now I'm seeing where I'm going to put it on the branch. I'm about to punch it, but I decide to put a little mark so I know exactly where it's going. And this punch, by the way, it's a pretty old punch, and I think it's still available, but it cuts through chipboard and everything. It's really, really good. Now I use these little brads, these Ranger Tim brads, but they are too small. They are the ones that have like the little nails, the little screwdriver, Phillips head and flathead tops to them. I used them, but they were too small. They went right through. So I just used the other ones. I have other brads that are different colors, but these were brown, kind of tarnished color looking. So I used them. And these are the longer ones. I think they call them, well, ideology calls them long fasteners. They're brads, people. They're brads. They're just small brads. Let's stop the hype there. So I use those. I put them through the second layer, and then I put it through the little branch. As you can see right here, I'm folding it over, and I'm making sure it can swing. And here I am. So I hadn't completely glued up to the top, and I don't glue onto the brad because I want it to have that movement, because I plan to glue another piece in the back to hold the brad ends of the fasteners, whatever, from showing. So here I am just getting another little branch, and I'm so sorry I'm out of frame, but here it is. I add another little, just a heavyweight cardstock die cut of the branch on the back, and this hides the little the brad legs or arms. I have no idea what they're called. And I remember using these as a kid to make those. What are the ones that it's like the little marionette looking things where the arms and the heads and the legs and everything move? So anyway, here I am. So on this one, I did a little bit different. Like I said, science experiment. I glued them first together because I was going to end up gluing them anyway. And then I glue it to the back and only the head part, so it leaves the arm loose. Now this one was a little bit harder, but mainly because I was experimenting. Now, see, I didn't even punch the hole, so I have to go in there. I have to actually unglue it a little bit to punch the little hole on this one for the brad. And I'm just kind of seeing where it's going to go for the other branch. And this is the same branch. Like I said, I ended up doing two because I was going to have them hanging from each other. But then I'm like, you know what? I felt like it left the rest of the card empty. So I went ahead and I did a second branch. And once again, and here's the thing, my challenge with this one is I should have moved it around before I glued the back of it to make sure it had that movement, and I didn't. So the monkey at the bottom is a little bit lazier and doesn't swing as well as the monkey on top. So, but, you know, with a little bit of movement, a little bit of loosening up of the paper, I actually got it to work. And like I said, I did glue it pretty close, but you see I realized, oh, maybe I should have had the monkey swing before I glued the whole thing down. But it works. It looks like I'm torturing this monkey. This looks really bad. Someone's going to call paper PETA. I don't know. Is there a paper PETA that I'm abusing this stamped monkey here as I'm trying to get it to swing on the branch? And here I am. I'm just placing them where I want them to go. I decide to to help the monkey swing a little better, to put some dimensional foam on here so it gives it the space behind it so it's not held back by the frame, by the quad collage frame. And I'm just seeing where it's going to go. I wasn't sure if I wanted it to go underneath the quad collage frame or just up to the border. So I decided to the border and I just cut that down. I do the same thing to the monkey on the left because it needs to swing. And I just felt that if I had the monkeys swing from each other, it might like rip one of the monkeys, and then, you know, somebody gets a card where a monkey's decapitated or something, and that's not cute. But here I am, I know. Here I am just adding the last monkey, and I'm trying to make sure that I have the space and everything. And here they are. See, I'm over here just trying to test it, move them away from the paper. I'm just kind of bending them out. Like I said, this is the first time I've ever done this, so I was trying to figure out how to make sure I make them. But I realized that the second monkey should have gotten a little test run before I actually started putting it all together. Here I am just fishtailing the banners of my sentiments. They're both the sentiments from this stamp set that I did also on the same cardstock from the Monkey's Clear stamp set. And I'm just placing it, like I said, I wanted the sentiment to look like it was something you're reading down, basically, from the top to the bottom. Let's monkey around. At the bottom, it says, "My little monkey." So here, I'm just literally, I don't know why I was positioning this thing while I have glue on it. I know, not the smartest thing to do, you guys. But I finally decided where it was going to go. And I did glue these to the actual card because I didn't want to put them on dimensional foam and then have them obstruct the swinging of the monkeys. I'm just trying to get it all positioned, get it all down. And like I said, in retrospect, I would have just made the quad frame one layer to help the monkey swing, but I still think it gives a nice little dimension. Here I am, look, I'm seriously trying to get it to swing. Swing, monkeys. The monkeys don't want to play. They're tired today. But this, I thought I was done, and I was like, wait, I am not done. There's still some shiny dots that I wanted to add. So these are the two sets, and look, I told you, you get a lot. You get like twice what you normally get in most little sets, and they have, of course, various sizes. One is Razzle Dazzle Clear Dots and Razzle Dazzle Shiny Dots. I end up using the shiny dots I was going to use the green ones or whatever, but I'm like, you know what? Or the brown ones. But I'm like, you know what? I don't normally use white ones. Let's go ahead. You know what? I do, but I usually end up coloring them. So, but since I have a green background, I felt that the white dots would be perfect. And look, they are. So I put 3 at the top in varying sizes in the 3 sizes that it comes with. And of course, I am not good at picking these up. And then I decided, you know what? The bottom needs some as well, and it won't obstruct the monkeys from swinging. So I went ahead and added the bottom ones just for a little bit of fun. So there is my card, you guys. I hope you like it. Make sure that you guys check out CC Design Store. And of course, all of the links will be in the description. And please check out my blog for all of the information for this project and future projects. So thank you guys for stopping by, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye, everyone.